Welcome to another edition of Car Show Life. My name is Drake Donovan. Car show season is almost upon us, and unlike last summer, events are starting to pop up on the calendar here and there. And there's lots of optimism that they're actually going to happen this year now that the vaccine is more readily available. One show in particular that I'm very excited about is the Camaro Nationals. This is one of these events that I highly recommend to any Camaro enthusiast. It's probably the most special because of the tight-knit community that organizes it. With that, I'd like to welcome to the show one of the co-founders of the American Camaro Association, a co-founder of the Lehigh Valley Camaro Club, and a co-founder and co-chair of the event for the Camaro Nationals, Mr. Karl Scheffy.
Hello, Drake.
Good to see you, buddy.
Hey.
So I'm coming to you from my Camaro room here at Car Show Life headquarters, and over my shoulder here, that's a souvenir that I got at the last Camaro Nationals we had in 2019. So, I'm very excited about getting back to Frederick and, what Car Show Life can do for the show. And, I feel like I've known you since about 2017 from the first Nationals that I attended, but I feel like I don't really know you. So this is a treat for me to kind of get to know you a little bit better and find out your history with car shows and Camaros. So tell me about how you got into the car hobby and what drew you to the Camaro.
Well, this part of Pennsylvania is pretty mainstream in the development and design and creation of the automobile. I mean, from Fleetwood Motor Works in Fleetwood, Pennsylvania, with the first electric car plants here in Boyertown, Pennsylvania, down the street. I live across the street from a great restoration shop. My next door neighbor ran the shop. When I was 14, I was asked to clean up and present a air-cooled, maybe a 27 Franklin, which is kind of neat. 15, the same guy took me out to Hershey. That was pretty wild. But I guess the thing that really got me into it was I was about 14 and went to the Great Allentown Fair. I was old enough to go alone and took my brothers and sisters, and I was the leader of the pack, the oldest one there, and went to see the Chevy show. Now, back then, the Chevy show was kind of neat. It was you sat in seats, kind of like they do now in Disney World, but the seats shook and vibrated, and you saw a Corvette and a Camaro on the big screen, and you would, they would move. It was like, wow, this is wild. This is like virtual reality, 1965, 66 or something. And they had Corvettes, and you got to drive a Corvette. And next year I was there and brought back a brochure of Corvettes. There were two of them. And the one had this really neat Corvette on it. It had an egg crate grill on it. It was all black. And I'm reading this thing, like, oh, it's a Corvette Camaro. Like, oh, this is a different car. This is a Camaro. It's not a Corvette. Wow, this is even neater. And lo and behold, my junior year of high school, pulled in a wrecked 2-year-old Camaro and put together and drove that through the rest of high school. Like Camaros ever since.
Kind of sounds funny too. You talk about being drawn to the Corvette, and then it's like, oh, wait, here's Camaro. My mom had a similar story, and that's kind of what got me into the car hobby was her 1971 Camaro, and she'd always wanted a Corvette, but at that time the Corvette was twice as expensive as a Camaro,
and it didn't hold any people.
Yeah.
It was a little hard on the family.
Yeah, and well, she was a single young woman. She went looking at cars.
Yeah, but there's no backseat for dating.
Yeah, hey, that's my mother you're talking about. But she goes to a Chevrolet dealership in Altoona and looks in the showroom, and she sees this citrus green Rally Sport Camaro, and her two younger brothers were with her. And they're egging her on, like, oh yeah, you could afford this. Yeah, why don't you put a down payment on? She's making all the excuses in the world, and she finds, well, I don't have my checkbook. Her brother whips out his checkbook, grabs her, rips off a check. Here, write a check for the hand money. and that was it. She bought it out of the showroom. And over my shoulder here is my 2002. I bought that out of the showroom, just like my mom did. So,
Hmm.
I too I've been a Camaro guy practically since birth, because that 71 was what I was brought home from the hospital in. So, uh, you know, we all come by it naturally. It's ingrained at an early age. So,
Yeah, the guy at the junkyard, actually, Kresley's junkyard, Willard Kresley and Ralph Kresley, they're actually father and grandfather of the current TV Carson Kresley.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Carson actually went to my high school. And but anyway, his dad sold me this car based on the guy had owned it, knew it was going to be repossessed, so he beat the crap out of it the last couple days, figuring, hey, I'm losing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they repossess it. They tow it up to Willard's. It needs a grill, it needs a bumper, it needs front nose, it needs driver's fender. Engine is blown and the trans is blown. Okay, but now you figure for a 16-year-old kid to buy a 2-year-old Camaro for $800 delivered to your
Wow.
driveway, hey, that's pretty neat. Well, the neat thing about it was I got it up on Hollywood blocks because I didn't have jack stands or anything. I'm out in the driveway, Hollywood blocks, and pulled the trans out and put the shifter on it and shifted. Wow, I might just save the transmission. Put that aside, started taking off the bell housing thing to pull this engine, and the clutch was blown to smithereens. There were pieces of clutch flying out of everywhere. I had to kind of cover my face with unfolding the clutch plate, not to get killed. Here was a piece of clutch jammed in between the engine block and the flywheel
Mm-hmm.
and the starter gear. I mean, it was jammed up solid. It took like 2 hours of needle nose pliers to get all these pieces out. Went in and started up. So a nose, a grill, a fender, and I was running this thing.
Oh man, that's great.
The guy at the junkyard was pissed. Yeah, he was sure he had another $1,000 coming from me in parts I was
Yeah.
going to need.
Yeah, the junkyard fresh auto parts store there.
Yeah.
So that's what a great story. Now, do you still have that car? And if not, when did you get rid of it?
No, when Gas Crunch hit 74, I had played with it, 4 barrels and all different things, and I pretty much messed up the drivetrain, not knowing what I was doing. I put a close ratio Corvette four-speed from a Corvette in it. Flywheel was there from a Corvette. Oh, that'll make it go faster. So I put the flywheel on from the Corvette. I had, 346 gears from the 327. Nothing meshed.
Yeah.
It ended up, the more I did to it, the more I messed it up. Mileage was terrible. So I left it go during the gas lines. Because you can only buy 10 gallons. That'll get me half around the block and I have to get in line again.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to go to work. So that was it. And then probably it was late 80s. You get a little older, kids, and it becomes a teenager. You start to think about this stuff a little bit more, and a couple of buddies started egging me on, and ended up getting back into it.
So that's really where you got to this point today, and getting back into the hobby.
Yeah, the guy had pretty intelligent. He said, "Look, don't wait until you can afford what you want, because you're never going to get it. The price is going to keep going up. You're never going to get it. Buy something that you can get your head around, that you can afford, and grow with it. Fix it up, do what you want, maybe sell it, maybe get a different one, maybe you love it and keep it. But at least you're going to be started in it." And that's what I did. And I ended up never buying one to sell, but something came along, the prices were right, and I could sell mine, and I just kept moving it on up. And I've had a pretty nice train through the years. Started out with a 67 modified that was one. Started looking for Camaro and seeing that in the paper. And the guy says, you know, 67, it was ZZ Top stripe down the side, built up motor, race, centerline wheels. I said, hey, it's a nice car, kid. You know, he was like 20, but it's not what I want. I want an original, you know, preferably a rally sport. You know, this isn't what I want. He said, oh, you got to buy it. So, no, I didn't understand. I really don't want it. It's not what I want. But it's been for sale for 6 months. I'm getting married in 2 weeks. I can't keep it at the house. My mom won't let me keep it at the house anymore. I have no room where we're moving. You got to buy this car. I said, I really don't want it. So he said, well, give me something for it. I said, so I gave him some ridiculous lowball number. He said, okay, take it. Well, you know, I can't renege on him. So I took it. And shortly, a few weeks later, one of the guys that said, hey, you got to get back into this, found a 67 Rally Sport convertible, something I wanted, but I already bought this one. He said, you got to look at this. I said, yeah. I said, I got this. I'm going to fix it up more to my taste, and I'll just keep this. He said, I'm telling you, you got to look at this. He was getting a little irritated at me that he found this car for me, and I'm not going to look at it, right? So, all right, go up and look at it. And, oh, my word. Triple black, 67, RSSS, black top, black deluxe interior, 4-speed, console gauges. I mean, beautiful. Story on that one. Guy about my age, a little older than me at the time, restored it, had it for a long time. His kid turned 16, starts taking the car out at night. He says, nah, you touch this car again, I'm going to sell it. Oh, you wouldn't do that. I'm telling you, Fred, Pete, whatever his name was, you take this car out one more time, it's gone. You're not going to get it when you get, you know, old enough to get it from me. You're going to lose it completely. Well, the kid takes it out again. Dad puts it for sale. And I snagged down. That was a nice car. Went from that. I had a 69 matching number Z. I had the last, supposedly, hopefully, maybe, was the last 69 convertible ever made. Ooh. Did a full concourse restoration on that. And that's how I ended up meeting Jeremy Nish and Brad McAdam and all that, going through what was called Red, White, and Blue, USA 1 concourse with the International Camaro Club when they had a show in the Poconos. And that's where I met a lot of the people that really are a big part of the Camaro Nationals today. And we've really been together, the core group, since late 80s. And I mean, a lot of new people like you and members of Lehigh Valley Camaro Club have joined in and joined on, and so they feel as welcome as everybody else. But that main core of Lyndon, Tony Abuso, you know, that's where we first met, was up to Poconos.
Okay, so that now explains, I think is this the 69 you were talking about?
That's the last convertible. That was the last, best I can tell, it was the last production convertible made in 69. 69, they stopped production for the most part. They went back to coupes, and they just made coupes for a little while longer because remember, the 70 came out late.
Yes.
So they had to fill in that gap. Well, they weren't really doing a lot of, they were trying to pare the line down just to keep it running while they built the 70 line. Mm-hmm. So supposedly that was the last convertible. And they stopped making convertible quarters. They stopped making the bows. You know, why do we need it? Because they're not going to have them in 70. I did find a few more in searching over the many, many years that were produced after it, but they were bare bones, 6-cylinder, crank windows, automatic, you know. Best I can tell, all my research, they were cars that a dealer said, look, you know, I've got this guy, he's been a customer of mine for however long, he wants a convertible. you got to make one more. And they kind of, well, you're going to get what you're going to get, and they threw something together. But mine was, like I said, hopefully the best I can tell, the last production order, power windows, power top, AM, FM. It had, it was loaded. It was a lot of options. It was, the last one that anybody put any thought into. So supposedly had a name. It supposedly had a plaque at one time that said it was the last one, but through the owners that disappeared. So it's kind of like Larry Christensen's first 69 Z28, third Camaro made, first Z made, but you can't prove it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's a lot of the problem with the especially like Chevrolet. The Pontiac folks, the Pontiac Historical Society has all those documents, so that you can really document the similar era Firebirds. But the Camaros of that era, you got to kind of rely on owners that kept paperwork, dealerships that may have had records that, haven't changed hands, which, good luck with that. And,
well, yeah, I had all that. I mean, I had protected plate, I had receipts, I had stuff going all the way back to the original owner. But again, without
production. Yeah,
without
the production
Chevrolet saying
Yeah.
what it is, you know, you got to take it for what it looks like. But that was kind of neat.
To get back to that core group, you said Jerry McNeish and Larry Christensen and Brad, you know, when you guys all got together at the Poconos, what was the genesis then of the American Camaro Association and then what became the Camaro Nationals? Walk us through that.
Well, I started helping out. It was a very small group of, kind of like we are now, it was a group of like 4 people. And the main 95% of the work was done by Donna Crispino. Donna and her husband, Tom, pretty much started that club and ran it. And they had a newsletter printed back then. You know, there wasn't much internet, if any. And the first one I was at, I had that black convertible. And this is what impressed me. And this is what I've always tried to do with the Camaro Nationals. I went to my first show. It was at the Hill Motor Lodge, tiny little 3-tiered set of motel rooms and an old caboose as a restaurant. Motel held like 45, 50 people. Donna would rent the entire place and you would park your car right at your motel room door. And hopefully, if the way the classes worked out, you could let it right there. If not, you had to move it a little bit, but you know, it's no big deal. And so I'm there I had that black 67 about, yeah, there it is. And I was at Pocono. That was on the track at Pocono, which we arranged, or Donna arranged with the AAC, the sports car club that was there that weekend. That while they took their lunch break, we could take our cars around parade laps on Pocono track.
Oh, nice.
So I took that car the first time. I had it maybe 3 weeks, and I entered it in stock convertible. And there were 2 pace cars and a loaded 427. Whatever. It's like, I don't know what prayer it is, but hey, this looks like fun. It looks like fun people. So comes to awards, and I took second place. I don't understand this. You know, there's 2 pace cars here. You know, how can my black 67 do anything with 2 pace cars? You know. And I went over later. He said, I don't understand. You know, how I want something with these pace cars. He said, "But your car was cleaner and nicer than theirs was. It doesn't matter that they're a pace car.
Yeah."
Your car was cleaner and better detailed. So, shoot, somebody actually, they actually looked at that, and it didn't matter that it wasn't a pace car. It didn't matter that it wasn't red,
Yeah.
They actually looked at the car for what it was. And from that day on, I said, that's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't win because it's a 4-speed. You shouldn't win because the judge likes red cars.
Mm-hmm.
you should be judged on the quality of the car. And that's what we always tried to do. Actually, what I was when I was volunteering back then, I wanted to do something. I wanted to be involved, and kind of like, you getting involved after being there a couple of years. And the more you're there, the more you learn. You meet people, and you start stepping into roles. Well, I had no real role to step into, so I said, "Look, I'll be entertainment director." Okay, so we brought up tricycles, and we had tricycle races. We had all the guys that were like, "You imagine Jerry McNeese on a little tricycle?"
Yeah.
And so we had tricycle drag races. That was a blast. Then we had the Lehigh Valley Camaro Club had a picnic one time, and this was back. One of the people in the club was on a cruise, and on the cruise they had, for the afternoon exercise, they had these dance parties, and they all came back at this dumb, stupid song called the Macarena. So, this is funny. This is funny. So we're at this picnic, and the mother and the teenage girl teach everybody, if you want to call it teach. We attempted to do the Macarena. Well, we had a blast. We're tripping over each other. It was funny. So we're at a car show a little while later, or club picnic. We practiced again. I said, well, we're actually getting half decent at this. So one of the other guys in the club he was a real squirrel too, as bad as me. He comes to the Nationals with a poncho and a Mexican hat. I take one of my wife's bikini tops and a grass skirt. You know where this is going. The whole club, there were like 25 of us lined up. I'm the girl of Macarena, and the guy in the sombrero, he's the guy. So he sings those parts. I dance to the girl parts, and then the whole club is doing the whole thing. Oh, it was a blast. I ended up rolling the aisle. So Jared Manish next year, he gets his club, the Maryland Camaro Club, and they do an oldies stroll, the stroll. And they practice over the winter, and they actually did the stroll the next year. So I thought, well, we can't be beat with that. So I came back the next year, and we did leader of the pack. And we had a tricycle, and one of the guys had a T-shirt with cigarettes rolled up. And he's leader of the pack. So you can see how this all leads. You can see how this all leads to Bobby Banana.
Yeah.
20 years.
And it's kind of putting the pieces all together for me. So we get an international Camaro event that was held in the Poconos. That's where the folks from the Long Island Camaro Club now come into play. That Linda and Anthony and those folks. So now I'm seeing the connections. Because I show up, it's the I think 19th Camaro Nationals was my first one, or maybe it was the 18th or 17th, I don't know. But the event had been established for a number of years, and then in Frederick for a number of years. So by the time I got to it, I couldn't figure out well, this guy, he's from Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, but it's in Maryland, and the Maryland Camaro Club does a lot with it. But then there's also these New York people, and then there's all these Ohio people that come from, I don't know where these Ohio people. That's how I got involved, because I was with the Northeast Ohio Camaro Club at the time. Right. So now that kind of puts it all in perspective.
Yeah. Well, again, as my entertainment director, we also did volleyball tournaments. So we would. Friday afternoon, your cars were set up. We'd go down to a volleyball pit, and the Maryland Camaro Club would play the Lehigh Valley Club, and in the winter of that would play Northeast, and the winter of that there was Delaware Valley, Maryland, Long Island, Lehigh Valley, and we had an actual tournament, a round robin tournament. And funniest thing is, one of the guys in our club at the time had a '69 Z. It was a car that was actually used for the Franklin Mint Hugger Orange '69Z. Okay. That was his car. And we went up, we had a photo shoot, and they put it up, and they took all the pictures to make this model. He was a little younger than me, and he was tongue-in-cheek fun, So turns out the one year Lehigh Valley wins the volleyball tournament. How, I don't know. Because Joe Sporny, the DJ, well, 25 years ago, Joe Sporny's still a big guy, but he was a strapping Hulk 25, 30 years ago. I mean, I'm at the net. He stands over there and, whoa, I mean, bam on the head. It knocked me over. So, and Drake, not Drake, another guy from Maryland, Camaro Clubs, still very active. But anyway, we win the volleyball tournament somehow. And this guy says, when it comes to awards, everybody get in a group. I'm going to go talk to the DJ. Oh, what are you going to do, Mike? Don't worry about it. I'm going to talk to the DJ. I got this all figured out. So he goes up to the DJ, talks to the guy. The guy shakes his head and comes back. Says, okay, now we're going to, for these awards, got that on. For this awards, this person wins first place, and this got a gold and whatever. And now for the our races, so and so won the tricycle race, and in the volleyball tournament, Lehigh Valley, and just as he says Lehigh Valley, he plays Queen. We are the champions of the world, and the whole club comes screaming out. And, it was Long Island's going, yeah.
Well, this is setting it all up for one of my questions is, what is the deal with Bobby Banana? And I think I know now. The competition that goes on during the auction for this
Yes.
is intense.
It's nuts.
And it's now, I now understand it with the history of the tricycle races and the volleyball tournament and the dance competitions. So tell us about Bobby Banana. When did it all start and what is it for?
Okay. When from the beginning, other than being a fun show where everyone should feel welcome. And to that point, we had a guy, we're on the parking lot party in 2019, and a guy was up from Tennessee. And, grab your chair. We made a hole for him. And, I don't understand. Here, come in. And in 10 minutes, he comes over to me and says, I just don't believe the show. I go to Tennessee, and everybody's got blinders on. You can't say anything about another car or a compliment or anything because everything's taken the wrong way, and there's like no conversation between anybody. He says, here, everybody comes up and talks to me, and I don't even know these people. I'm invited to do this. I'm invited. I said, this is unbelievable. And so the other part of what we want to make sure is this is a nonprofit show, and we donate all the profits from the auction and additional to different charities. One of them is the Silence of Mary Home. It's a home for disenfranchised children that have nowhere else to go in the system. The system has dropped them out. There's no homes for them to go to. There's no Medicare. There's nothing helping these kids, sometimes from newborns of drug addicts or kids that are just worn through the foster care system. And Vern and Rudy take these people in, started in their own house, then they bought another house. Now they've quite a few properties in a group. And, there's nothing taken off the top. Every penny that we give and that other people give, it goes right to their helping the kids. And Rick, one of my co-creators of this event, worked with Vern, and that's how that contact was made. And he was 100% with me on this. It was his idea as much as mine. And $5 was $5. So the one year we had donated he went to grocery stores and everything you want to donate for door prize or sell for a charity. So he comes up with a big plastic M&M guy that you put bags of M&Ms in at a display at the store.
Yeah.
And a Dole banana. So we're going to put this Dole banana out as a silent auction, maybe get $3-4 for it. And Rick says, no, give me that banana. I got a better idea for him. And he just stands up in front and he starts creating this story about this banana. Now, Bobby's been around the whole show, and he really likes Camaros and this and that, and this and that, and he really needs a home for the winter. And I think the first year at Long Island or somebody, I think got $45 for him or something. And okay, well, that was the end of it. And but hey, it was $45 for the home, and that was great. Well, we're up at Frederick, and I don't know how or where or why, but whoever had Bobby at the time brings him back to Frederick. Well, then it just started all over again. And then it really kicked up every year. I mean, clubs will go $500-$600 for the right to take him home and give him a home for the winter.
Yeah.
And he has his own Facebook page.
Yes, I was about to mention the life and times of Bobby Banana.
Well, I'm sorry?
It's the life and times of Bobby Banana, or adventures of Bobby Banana.
Yeah.
Like that.
Life and times of Bobby Banana. Yeah, they take him water skiing, and he was out to Texas and different places.
That's fantastic. Now, I understand, who was the last club to get him? Was it Long Island or Maryland?
I lose track. I believe Long Island has him right now.
Okay.
I have to check his Facebook page, see where he's at.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's his winner?
The last time I saw Bobby Banana, he was not looking well.
Oh, he was a little limp.
Wasn't holding air, and we were under idea, trying to come up with ideas on how to preserve Bobby Banana, because he's got signatures on him, different folks that have had him over the years, and it's just the idea, because occasionally I will be part of the auction. I even have my little hammer pen here, and I will help spell Scott Settlemeyer, who is the designated auctioneer, and I'll jump in whenever I can, and I got to do the Bobby Banana auction, and boy, oh boy, it gets real. The fighting that goes on, especially between Maryland and Long Island. Which I think it's because they have the most vocal members.
Right, and you watch the table, and there's a pile of money in the middle, and everybody's pulling out their wallet. Here, I got another 20. Here, throw this in. And, how much we got now? And then it kind of, we had 560. And then it's funny because even Larry Christensen or Rick George or somebody's not even in their club. Mm-hmm. Oh, another one is Tom Henry.
Yeah.
Tom Henry's not in Long Island, but if he sees some capitulating back and forth there, I've seen Tom Henry come out and throw $50 on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
and then Scott will go, well, you do that. And then he throws something over here,
and that's what's great about this. One of the things that I noticed in attending this event over the years, there's been a certain amount of what I like to call Camaro royalty. Scott Settlemeyer, who was longtime director of special events for General Motors and Chevrolet. From what I understand, he did a lot of the auto show stuff. So in this photo here, you see Scott in the blue shirt in the center, and then his cousin is Tom Henry, formerly of Tom Henry Chevrolet in Bakerstown, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. And he is now still running Tom Henry Racing, kind of like Yenko and Nicky, the aftermarket performance.
Right.
And I believe he's shaking hands with Todd Christensen, who is the marketing director for Camaro and Corvette for Chevrolet.
Right, and that's Larry Christensen's son.
Yeah. And we've also had over the years folks like Ken Lingenfelter, the late Becky D from Detroit. She was a car dealer, much like Tom, involved in getting folks their Camaros and getting involved with clubs. And, who else that I might not be aware of that is of significance to Chevrolet and GM that might have attended the show?
Through the years, one biggie was John Moss.
Okay.
John was in charge of anything secret and powerful. Had John's name on it. He had the purse strings and the ideas, and for the aluminum ZL1s and, putting a ZL1 back in a 5th gen and, and anything like that. That was John Moss. Dennis Gage from My Classic Car. We had Dennis there 1 year. You mentioned Larry Christensen. He's one of our head concourse judges. A lot of these people, even getting my background, refreshing my memory for this show today. We know these people as friends, and Larry shows up with the mule or whatever, some great pro touring car, and you do a little checking on it. Holy crap! This car he brought to the show that he did is like all the magazine famous as one of the cars of this or that genre. The other is Larry has owned both 67 and 69 pace cars, the actual cars that paced Indy. He's owned them both.
Yeah, not the replicas.
No. He had the car, and he had them at the same time. I don't think anyone else has ever owned them both at the same time. Even another one we met way back and is, still comes to show every year. He's one of our bow tie judges. Is Kevin Coleman.
Yeah.
Kevin's 67 Camaro pace car. He sold it to GM in the museum and on whenever they have a 67 pace car on tour. That's Kevin's car.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, no slouch of restorer there.
Yeah.
If GM's willing to buy your car, you did a pretty good job.
So that's basically, what I wanted to get into is, the reasons why Camaro fans should consider this show in June. And as a reminder, it is June 24th to the 26th in Frederick, Maryland. And you can find the information on it at CamaroNationals.org is where you can find registration and all the details about hotel and the fairgrounds itself. And, just trying to enlighten people that may not be from Maryland, Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, Delaware, Virginia, that are close, trying to expand beyond that region to get, like you were saying, the fellow from Tennessee that came up and was just floored by the hospitality that he found amongst this group, because like you said, that core group, that's what drew me in. And I made friends I was a guy from Northeast Ohio with roots in Pennsylvania. And so I knew of Tom Henry, I knew of Scott Settlemeyer, but then to actually get to meet them and then become friends with them, and then finding all these other people from Long Island and upstate New York and Michigan and Illinois, it was a really great experience that kept me coming back for more. So, tell all those F-Body fans out there, even the Firebird folks, why they should come to Camaro Nationals.
Well, I think we pretty much said it this whole time. You have the camaraderie, the openness, the friendship, and what people quickly realize. And if you go to Camaro shows or you own a Mustang, wherever you have, and you haven't realized it yet, you're missing something. And that is that the cars are one thing. The cars are what draw us together, but it's a friendship that is the real key. It's a friendship that brings you back the next year. It's a friendship the rest of the year, and the emails and the, that really draw the community together. And the second is, if you do want your car judged, if you are interested in improving your car, we're not here to tear your car apart. We're here to judge it fairly against other cars. And in most of our cases, we're judging against a score sheet. Actually, this year we even changed Heartbeat. It's no longer against the car next to you. You're judging your car against a score sheet. So if all 5 cars in that class are all beautiful, almost perfect cars, they're all going to get a gold. It's not a matter of first place, second place, and have a gorgeous car and you get third place. That almost sounds insulting. So no, you're all going to get gold if you all deserve a gold. And then if you're not quite into that level of judging, we have our top 25 participant vote, where participants at the show vote for their favorite cars, and the top 25 all get an equal award for recognizing their outstanding Camaro. You mentioned quickly earlier, and I think that's pretty unique to the Camaro, so much the Camaro hobby, but I think ours are a little bit more open. I know Corvettes, I understand, used to do it, and that's our parking lot parties at night.
Mm-hmm.
We host hotel. We just have 200-300 people in 4 or 5 big circles like this, like campfires, just hanging out and telling stories. The time I wrecked my Copo when I was 22, and gosh, if I would have known now what I know then, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Gee, the stories are just worth going for.
Yeah. And, to hear some of the stories from Scott Settlemeyer.
Oh, you should listen to him all night.
And his cousin Tom, these guys are cousins, but they basically grew up like brothers. And Tom is the 2nd generation car dealer. So Tom Henry Sr.
Right. But actually, Tom's father and Scott's father were both involved in the dealership at one time.
Yes.
And then as it went down the next generation, Scott moved on to Chevrolet as his career, where Tom stayed with the dealership. But yeah, the camaraderie and the stories even between those two is fun just to watch.
Yeah, and one of the stories I heard was about they're both teenagers and taking out demonstrator cars and having some fun with the de-icer, the liquid tire chain, and doing burnouts. with the liquid tire chain solution, that you'd hit the button and spray the tires, and then you could light them up.
Even before Scott was driving, this is before your time, maybe you know this or not, but all the car dealers, virtually all the brands, each brand had their date. September 26th, whatever it was Chevrolet's release date.
Mm-hmm.
You did not get to see the 67 Camaro or 68, whatever year you were in. You did not get to see that car until September 26th.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big event, not like now with the spy cameras and you see stuff 4 years before it came out. Yeah. No. Not back in the 60s. You did not see that car until that day, and everybody saw it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they used to hide the cars at Scott's house. Yeah. So you imagine you're a 14, 15-year-old kid, and in your garage, in your backyard, with fences with tarps over them so nobody can see in the yard, there's brand new Corvettes and brand new Camaros and Chevelles that no one has seen yet. And you're back there playing. I mean, how fantastic is that? Just,
the idea that you've got access to some of these folks that have been with these cars, since they came out, and the people that are a part of it. There are some GM folks that come, like I said, folks that are into the aftermarket stuff show up, and by and large, the clubs that show up, their memberships are just as open and welcoming as the hosts of the event, and I think that's what keeps everybody coming back. And I think that the best way it's been described to me, it's been described as an annual family reunion, but you really like everyone you see. So, looking at the history of the show, this started, this year will be the 22nd anniversary. It can't be the annual because we didn't have it last year. Tell us about how the show began and how it got its way from the vestigial shows in the Poconos down to Frederick, Maryland.
Well, again, after it was 97 was the last Pocono show. We didn't know it was going to be the last Pocono show, but that was our 13th Pocono show. And again, Brad McAdam, Jeremy McNeish, Larry Christensen, Kevin Coleman, and that's where we met Scott. Scott brought the first 98, which was a new grill.
Yeah.
And I assume Donna probably knew, but I didn't know about it. And this new Camaro rolls in. It's like, holy crap, look at that thing. And these two guys get out of it, and oh God, powder feet, wash anoint your feet, the whole bit. It's like, oh my God, that's factory, and everybody's kind of like, hush, hush, staying away, because they're factory people. You can't talk to them; they're gods. So, there's a big restaurant there at the hotel we were at, the big Pocono Manor hotel, and the line was pretty long the one day at lunchtime. So there was a diner down the street. So Rick, Al, and I, and my wives, jumped in a car, and one of the cars, I forget which one we took. We jumped down to the diner. The diner was pretty full too, and this guy walks in the diner, and Rick elbows me and says, "That's a GM guy over there." Really? I really don't remember, but if you say it is, yeah, that's him. And there's no tables. So he calls Scott over to sit, if you want to sit at a table with us. And like, oh, can we do this? So yeah, Scott sat down with us, and that's how we first really got to know him. And turns out in '98, the Indy circuit put 2 races in the Poconos at Long Swamp that blew apart the calendar for the Poconos, because the second date they put in was our date.
Ah.
Well, there was also a chocolate and wine weekend that was all booked already, and there was this weekend was booked already, and so we got bumped out of our date, and we had nowhere to put it without going into some terrible 98-degree August weekend. Donna, I guess, was getting burnt out, and said, "You know what? This is just a sign to end it." My business went out of my company I was working for went out of business, and I just took this all as a sign to heck with it. I'm moving to the islands. Put my house up for sale. Sold that black '67. Sold the last convertible. Sold them. Found a house down the Caribbean. Boy, in the end, I just couldn't do it, so we didn't move. So '98, there's no national show. The big Worldwide Camaro Club, which was the other one at the time, they pretty much had run their course. That was bought out by Eckler's.
Okay.
And they kind of got away from the Camaro show. They went to a mixed all GM show for a while, and late great Chevys. And so in '98, there was no national show, and it was out of Hershey, and just lamenting that, gee, the hobby's not going to be the same, without this national show to keep us together and connected and keep the friendships going. It's not going to be as much fun. So, being the stupid idiots we were, we said, well, why can't we do it? We called Donna and said, hey, why don't we get this thing going again? And yeah, we'll do all the work. Just you be there and be present. We'll do all the work. Just we got to get this thing going again. And she said, she was tired. She was burnt out. And so we said, well, how are we going to do this? So there's only 2 places we could think of that were close enough to logistically, and that was Hershey and Carlisle.
Okay.
So Rick's wife actually worked at Hershey. So we had some insight as to what things cost there. Got some numbers together and said, we can't afford Hershey, especially the first year. That's beyond, we each put in $500,
Yeah.
I wouldn't get us too far, Hershey. So I don't think $1,000 is going to get us too far at Carlisle either. But, well, hey, with nothing to lose. So I called Carlisle and said, what do you want to rent the grounds for a weekend? He said, why? I said, well, we're going to put on a Camaro show. And so we went up to Carlisle and met with Lisa, who was in charge of shows at the time. And we went in this big conference room and, sat 35 people. So it's Lisa and Rick and I sitting there and start explaining things. We've got our list of attendees. So we've got a friends and stuff. We got a core base of probably 100, 150 people that we're pretty sure we're going to come. We got Larry Christensen, Brad McAdam, and Jerry McNeish that we're doing a concourse, and I'm sure if we give them the offer, they'll consider continuing on with a judging system. And so we're about half an hour into this, and the phone rings. Lisa picks up the phone and says, "Yeah, really? Huh? Okay, thank you, goodbye." Hangs up. Okay, what do you want? When do you want it? Here the Miller brothers were up in their offices listening. They must have microphones and cameras and listening to all this, and gave Lisa the go ahead to give us whatever we wanted. So we were at Carlisle for quite a few years. We ended up outgrowing it. I hear about this on Facebook every week.
Yeah.
Why are you on the same date as Carlisle? So we're not. It's our weekend. It's our show. We started it, but we outgrew it. Our concourse, as you know, in Building 9, we've got 20, 25 cars in concourse and a lift.
Mm-hmm.
Carlisle just no longer had that. They weren't, and I understand, they weren't looking to build another building for us. Not that they couldn't use it for other purposes. And they didn't want to put us down in T building, which is their display building for each event where they put their invited cars.
Mm-hmm.
We said, well, give us half of that. And, they didn't want to do that. We totally outgrew the little pole buildings that we were in. So, we had to find another location. Unfortunately, they've gone through several variations of Camaro show, all GM show, GM Nova show. Now I think they're back to all Chevy or the all GM again. But it's floating around. Unfortunately, they're keeping on the same date that we've had almost from the beginning, and it does make it hard for the Camaro enthusiasts sometimes to choose. But again, listening to everything you've heard here today, you should understand there's a big difference between the two events.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you're going to Carlisle, that's great, but you're going to be there with the Novas and the Monte Carlos and the Chevelles and the Corvettes. You come
and you're going to, and like it or I'm not good, bad, or different, but you're going to be in a field. You're not going to go know the guy next to you. Maybe by the weekend you might know his name. 1 in 50 might know what the town the guy is in from next to him. Maybe look at his dash card. But the experience is completely different. Completely different. I mean,
we talk about.
You're not only going to know the guy's name, you're going to know his kids' names and how old they are by the time you're
Exactly. And, the other thing, too, is, the Firebird folks, there's always room for the Firebirds at the Camaro Nationals.
Oh, yeah. There are F-Body brothers, absolutely.
And that's one nice thing that, even though that brand has been orphaned, you can come and hang with your Camaro brethren and be a part of the show. So though it says Camaro Nationals, the Firebirds are welcome. And
Mhm.
the effort to have a section with the Firebirds in it is always noted in my mind, because although I grew up Camaro, it seems that the Firebird became the celebrity car when you factor in Smokey and the Bandit, the Rockford Files, Knight Rider, Hooper with Burt Reynolds playing the stuntman using a rocket-powered car, and it was a Firebird Trans Am. So, while I grew up with Camaro, I remember the first time I saw a '77 Trans Am. It wasn't even the black with gold. It was just the gold Trans Am. And when it pulled up, I felt like I was looking at a movie star. You know.
Yeah.
But again, Camaro Nationals happening June 24th to 26th. You always say it's the weekend after Father's Day,
Mhm.
and the classes. We've talked about concourse judging. You mentioned heartbeat. Give us a run through of the classes and what's all entailed in them.
Right. Well, starting at the most basic, if you just want to come and have fun for the weekend, dust the car off and have fun. We have non-judged outdoor. You just park with other non-judged cars, hang out, meet your friends, get out the lounge chair, um, hang out at night, go to the banquet or charity auction. Oh, by the way, don't forget the charity auction. Where we mentioned we auction off Bobby Banana, but that auction has, a set of your choice size retro tires from Kelsey Tire. There's a bid for that. There's fenders, there's hoods. There was beautiful custom wheels, set of 4 custom wheels last time. Camaro,
Yeah.
nice embroidered shirts. I have a nice jacket downstairs. I think I paid $60 for that. A really neat jacket.
Well, hey,
Um,
over my shoulder here, one of the murals from the Camaro 50 celebration, the second gens, 18 by 24. I bought that at the
yeah,
auction.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I was the auctioneer, and I said, Scott, get up here. And I handed him the gavel and ran down to raise my hand to buy that. So another one that was really interesting I think it was my first event where I was helping out with the auction. There were new old stock parts
Oh yeah,
that were donated, badges and
emblem.
door
Yeah,
handles
yeah,
and latches and so forth. New old
yeah,
stock, and
yeah,
because it was specific. If you weren't a first gen or second gen owner that had that car, there wasn't a lot of money in the room for it. So a lot of these folks were like, "Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah."
yeah, yeah. And then there's typical die casts and wax and all kinds of art and different things too. But yeah, so I want to cover that. But so anyway, we have the non-judged outdoor. Just want to have fun, go to the different events, hang out with your friends. Dust the car off in the morning, and you're good to go. Next step up is, I guess, would be our top 25. Top 25, the cars are arranged in generation just for this viewing pleasure instead of being totally mixed up. But hey, if you want to park next to your friend with a 5th gen, go ahead. It doesn't really, it's not written in stone. You vote for your favorite car, the top 25 get the rewards. Next up from that is Heartbeat. Heartbeat, is outside. A team of judges will actually judge your car to a score sheet, points based on each area, the hood, undercarriage, body, interior, trunk. So many points for each area. And then, from 100 to 94 points gets gold.
Mhm.
So if you lost 1 point in your engine compartment, you lost 2 points in undercarriage, your interior was gorgeous, you lost a point in your trunk, hey, you got a gold.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what the guy next to you did or does or had. Next step up above that is indoor non-judged. If you have a really super great car, you're really squeamish about letting it out in the sun and the dust, you're there to have fun, but hey, you've got all the awards you need. You're not worried about that part of it. You just want to show everybody your beautiful car, but you don't want it outside. We have an indoor non-judged. Next above that, we have bow tie. Bow tie is a precursor to our top concourse class, which is legend. In bow tie, you're talking about 45 minutes to an hour of judging, a team of anywhere from 3 to 5 judges. Now the car has to be pretty darn accurate. We aren't just talking show and shine where the cleanest, neatest car wins.
Mm-hmm.
No, you've got to have the right carburetor on. They're going to check the number. They're going to check the VIN number. It better be painted the color it's supposed to be. The interior better match the cowl tag. It should be red with a black interior. The car should be red with a black interior.
Mm-hmm.
Right size wheels, proper bias tires, proper exhaust, not Midas Special. And it'll go through the whole thing. It takes about an hour. That is, again, a gold, silver, bronze. Quite prestigious. I mean, that's often brought up as part of the provenance when a car is sold once you're into that level of judging. There's a division in that called bow tie with legends check. That's the next step up for the car that's has his eye on the top prize. You go through a higher level bow tie where now they start checking the radiator code, the date of the radiator, the date of the seat belts, the date of the wheels, the date of the transmission, the date of the rear end. And if you can pass that muster, you can then make the final jump into legends. Legends is now judged by the top people in the industry: Larry Christensen, Brad McAdam. Again, there's a list of 5 people. So I'm not trying to insult anybody here, but it's quite impressive, the people that are judging this class. They're all either very, very well-known restorers and or shop owners that have been doing concourse restorations forever.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're looking at 3 hours under the light. Again, that blue convertible you had up before, I ran that through concourse. And it's something I wanted to do to prove that I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
The research and the finishes and everything. I mean, the firewall has to be the exact shade of satin black. And the inner fenders are not the same shade of satin black as a firewall. There's different percentages of flatness. There's 30% flat, 60% flat, 40% flat. And again, not to disparage any other groups out there, but we've had people bring cars in from Texas or whatever. Before we had the legends check, people just say, well, I've got the nicest car in Texas. I win all the state fairs. I've won all the AAC awards. There's nothing more I can do in Texas. They bring it up here to go through legends. And 10 minutes in, we have to tell the people, I'm sorry, this car is not in our calibers. Well, how can that be?
Mm-hmm.
AACA, as great as AAC is, and it is good, that whole undercarriage, the whole engine compartment can be painted with the same can of 30% flat black paint.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. It's clean, it's neat, it's got the right alternator on it. Here's your senior award.
Mm-hmm.
No, that doesn't fly for us. If when Larry and Brad and Jerry Niche and all the other these fine restorers have their researchers, the information is there that the 45-degree angle radiator braces were made at a different plant and painted in a different plant than the inner fenders.
Mm-hmm.
How can they be the same? They're painted by 2 different people, weeks apart, in 2 different parts of the country. They can't be the same finish. And once you know that information, to not restore it to that level, you're really not restoring it to factory condition.
Yeah.
So again, you're looking at 3 hours now. Now they're up on a lift. I think I spent 45 minutes on a lift looking at the undercarriage alone. So when I went through with that blue one, 20 minutes in, I left. I went down and joined the volleyball team in the volleyball tournament because I could not take it. I couldn't take it. When they're sitting there with a fingernail on my interior, sliding down the edge beading to see if their fingernail would catch on a scratch. If there was a scuff or scratch in the seat and your fingernail would catch on it, it was a point.
Mm-hmm.
If you could see it, but your fingernail didn't catch on it, you didn't lose the point. So by the time I got to the passenger seat, I couldn't take it. Listen, I don't have a prayer. I'm not going to win anything. They're not going to even embarrass me by calling my name at awards. It's going to be that bad. And I just couldn't take it. So I just left and played volleyball. And I wasn't very good because I was really upset. I ended up just squeaking the bronze. And that gave me the ambition to, part of the Legends class, it's a 3-year system. You must make bronze the first year. If you make bronze, then you can come back for 2 more times. Mm-hmm. Each time you must improve your score by 10%. Each year. You can't just put the car away and bring it back the next year with no changes.
It's like,
what's the point?
No, here's where you got dinged. You need to improve these specific areas. Yeah. So
right. So what you generally do, and what I did, I looked at the points that were deducted. Looked at what I invested in the car. Looked at my wallet. Okay, what can I fix for the amount of money that I have that can get me my 10% to stay in the system? So the second year, I ended up with a high silver, and then the third year, I had to go after the killer things. Mm-hmm. The right radiator, actually the right radiator I had. I forget one of the things that was killing me. The wheels weren't the right date code. They weren't the right wheels. Bias ply tires I had to buy. A couple of things I needed, but anyways, by the third year I got the money together to do the third year, and I made the gold I needed. But then it's amazing today that I was in '97 that I got the gold. So today we're at a level many times higher yet than that. Mm-hmm. I mean, that car that got a gold then, in gold condition, probably wouldn't make bronze today.
Yeah.
Because we've learned that much more.
Yeah.
And that it raises the bar for the person that's interested. Again. Mm-hmm.
Your average Camaro enthusiast is probably going to show up, do the participation or do the heartbeat class. But this is for the folks that have those cars that are restored. These are cars that they have made investments in. Maybe they're going to take it to auction, and having that provenance, that certification, like the NCRS does with Corvettes or Bloomington Gold or any of these other, judging bodies that certify the quality of the restoration and the accuracy of the restoration. This is what you go for at Camaro Nationals.
Right. The and it raises the bar for everyone in the quality of parts that are going to be made, in the body shops that are even doing your driver. Mm-hmm. The stripes being correct. 30 years ago, you took your car to the local body shop to have it repainted, and he sanded it all down, took some masking tape, and put your nose stripe back on. Mm-hmm. Some of the stripes you saw, some of the stripes you still see. I mean, they weren't anywhere near accurate. Well, now there isn't hardly a body shop out there that's done more than 2 Camaros that doesn't know where to look to find the proper stripe layout and put them on right.
Yep.
And they got to be that they don't stop short, that they don't wrap all the way underneath where they're not supposed to.
Yeah. There's a certain taper to them. There's a certain, before it hits the panel crease, there's a certain gap where it stops. If you're doing it accurately. Now, if you're Tom Henry Racing, you paint that stripe all the way to the gap. It was an interesting thing when the 2018 Hot Wheels edition came out, and the president of the Northeast Ohio Camaro Club was receiving his car, which was determined to be the first retail convertible sold in 2018. And the stripes, Tom Henry Racing Edition, they peeled the decals off and they painted the stripes on that car.
Right.
And then somebody comes from GM that was, Morgan knew the guy, invited him to the unveiling. He shows up in a captured test fleet car, and you could see the difference. That decal was about a quarter of an inch from the edge of the convertible top tonneau, whereas the Tom Henry stripes were painted to the edge. And he was even taking pictures, saying, "Wow, okay, I see what you're doing there. That's pretty slick." So another one of those little Camaro tidbits. We've been talking now for over an hour. I'm sure we could talk all day about Camaros. We should probably give folks a chance to figure out how to get involved with Camaro Nationals and where they register. And if you can give us the exact URL there.
Yeah. Again, the main website is camaronationals.org. And on the homepage, you'll see a menu bar across the top and also buttons in the middle of the page. There is a page on location that'll tell you the hotel. There's a button for the hotel. It has the rooms available or block number. You can directly link right into the website or call the Hampton Inn with the code CA5 for your room at special rate. After every class, under options, there's judging options. Under every class, there's a link to the registration form as well as on the download page. I put that link all over the place. You should not have any trouble finding it. And with that registration form, you can choose t-shirt and size if you'd like. You can check off if you're going to come to our Thursday night kickoff cruise. We have a rolling cruise through the countryside around Frederick. That's always fun. We have the banquet. You can sign up for the banquet if you like, pick your class, and get that sent in. I've spent a lot of time on the website. I don't think you have too much trouble. I may believe I didn't know what I was doing. And and if I would just come in off the street and I was looking for this information, that information, where would I look for it? And I think I've got it pretty good. I don't think you have too much trouble.
Well, this has been a great hour talking with you about Camaro and Camaro history and the Camaro Nationals. And again, it's June 24th to the 26th in Frederick, Maryland. And you can find all that info at camaronationals.org. Co-chair of the event and founder of it, Karl Scheffy, has been our guest on Car Show Life. Karl, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you this June in Frederick.
Absolutely. Make sure you bring that gavel.
I will. Sold it. That's going to do it for this edition of Car Show Live here on NorthcentralPA.com. In our next episode, we'll get to know Melanie Henry, who is the force behind Mel's Car Shows, and discuss her planned lineup for events for 2021 in the Clearfield and State College areas. In the meantime, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Car Show Life, back in Hood Up. You can email me directly at info@carshowlife.net. And of course, you can always make a comment here on NorthcentralPA.com. My thanks to Karl Scheffy. A big thank you to Phoebe Freer and everyone at North Central PA Media. I'm Drake Donovan. Go out and live that car show life. Back in Hood Up.